What's up, Ragiroth? Do what?
Ragiroth Enterprises.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you come in. I'm Rich of Ragiroth Enterprises, and welcome to my channel. First I wanted to say I apologize if the trailer talks I recently did were a little late for how long I usually make them after the trailers come out. There were a couple factors as I was down the shore with some friends, so that kind of hurt my free time a little bit, and I had some issues with some of the videos, such as copyright issues, and just taking a long time to upload. It was a mess. But I'm glad I got them all uploaded, and I hope you all enjoyed them for what you've seen. And I'm also kicking myself for not doing a Black Mana reveal trailer reaction video, because I saw it and holy fuck! Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. I wanted to get back to the top 10 videos for fighting games coming out that I've been wanting to do. And I've done 2 of them, actually 3 of them technically. So now on to the next one, which is talking about Dissidia Final Fantasy MT. I should probably say that I want to try, keyword try, to make this video a bit shorter, as I know that some of them have gone on a bit long. There's just so much I want to say, and it's just hard to get it all in. But I'd like to say this will be shorter, because I feel like these characters, there's not really as much to say about them. Most of them haven't really been in fighting games or action games before, with a couple exceptions. And I should probably say I'm disqualifying returning characters that haven't been revealed for the game yet, because first of all, they said that they're intending to bring back all the returning characters anyway, and the only one I really want is maybe Golbez, like a Brant, I guess. So it's really not worth it mentioning them. Oh, and I should also probably say Noctis is disqualified as well, because he'd probably make the top part of my list, and they basically already confirmed it anyway, so no point in including him. So anyway, let's get started. Oh, another note I should probably say, some of these are like those typical and/or options again, as they did with some other videos, because I can't see some of them being in. Can't see some of these characters both being in the game, and they probably both represent something similar for the series. Just making a note of that. Alright, so number 10. Snow from Final Fantasy 13. This guy seems to have kind of a divisive fan base. A lot of people I see like him, a lot of people hate him. I've always liked him. He's probably one of my favorite party members from 13. And I think he'd probably be good for a fighting game. He'd be another monk-style brawler character. And I think having the ice element and the Shiva motorcycle would be really cool. And I also would maybe like to see him use that double-bladed ice sword he has in Lightning Returns. And I would like his Lightning Returns outfit to be an alternate. I'm assuming if he wasn't, his default would be the 13 outfit. So yeah, I think he'd be a very physical, in-your-face character that uses ice primarily, and maybe you can increase character's defense, because I know he was known for being a sentinel. I think it's what that class did. It's a long time. It's been a long time since I played FF13, so bear with me. I think Snow would be really cool. Again, no pun intended. Alright, number 9. Seiss from Final Fantasy Type 0. She'd honestly be higher, but I know her chances are terrible. It's a miracle that we got one character from Type 0 in. Ace. Seiss was always my favorite character from Type 0. I think she'd be unique in the sense that no one really uses a scythe. I said Seiss. Scythes are my favorite weapon, as I maybe mentioned in other videos before. I'd really love to see her. I've always liked the design and personality. As for how she'd play, you got me there. I guess she'd probably drain health, do damage over time, things like that. I think she'd be unique. I just don't think she has much of a shot, because the game she's from is a spin-off game, and I don't think she's the most popular or important character from that. Alright, so on number 8. That's one of those or options I'm talking about. Shadow or Setzer from Final Fantasy 6. I can't see either of these guys being in, honestly, and if they were to get in, it would only be one of them. I think Locke or Celis, I don't know if I'm saying the names right, but probably more of a shot than them. The only thing it does help is that I think they're both fairly popular characters, and they would represent classes that aren't in the game yet. We don't really have a traditional gambler for Setzer. We don't really have a traditional full ninja for Shadow. I mean, I know Onion Knight has the ninja class, but that's not his full moveset. They were probably my favorite characters from 6. I would love if they got in. I mean, Setzer did get into Kingdom Hearts 2, but I think it's only because Nomura's characters were in that game, and that was one of the characters from 6 he made. I would love if they somehow got in, though. Either one. I can't decide which one I like better. On to number 7. Another horror option. Aranea or Core from Final Fantasy 15. I probably meant to mention these two in the Final Fantasy 15 review I did, but these are two of my favorite characters in the game, and it really sucks you don't get to play as them. This is another thing that kind of sucked about that game. Not to get into that subject. I've always liked their designs and how they fight. It was a shame they really didn't become playable, let alone party. Well, they were party members. I'm really hoping they at least maybe make it playable in an episode further down the line. And honestly, I don't see either of them getting in this. Maybe Aranea, because she does seem fairly popular. But we already got my boy Kane in there. Who kind of essentially covers what she does. I mean, I'm sure there's ways to make her unique. I just don't know if they want to go the extra mile to make her different. Core, actually, I think would be kind of easy to make unique, because even though we do have a couple katana wielders in the game, he uses kind of the Lido or Lado style, again, sorry the pronunciation, where they kind of have their katana withdrawn and they bring it out for the strikes. Sephiroth doesn't do that, and I think the other few katana users don't do that either. Think like Virgil from Devil May Cry, or Ishida from Sengoku Basara. But I don't think he has much of a shot, honestly. I don't even know if we're going to get another Final Fantasy 15 character this time or not. I should probably also say that these are characters I mostly want, not entirely basing off of who I think is likely. Number 6, Beatrix from Final Fantasy 9. Man, it really sucks that all the females I want don't seem to have much of a shot. And they always talk about, having more female fighters, but I feel like all the ones I want are the more obscure ones, and there's always someone more popular in their way. But yeah, Beatrix is from Final Fantasy 9. She's actually a character that isn't always in the party, unfortunately. Or I should say, isn't a permanent party member. That was more the word I'm looking for. She's this badass knight who I think winds up getting married to Steiner at the end of the game. And she kind of played similar to him. It's been a long time since I played FF9. I think she kind of had attacks that were elemental based, and that brought down stats, kind of like Auron from Final Fantasy X. You break your attack or defense, and things like that. She's a tricky one. I think she does have some popularity, however. There's a certain little black mage with a hat on his head that probably has a little more of a shot than her. I'm referring to Vivi. He's basically one of those popular FF9 characters. I mean, hell, he made it in Kingdom Hearts 2. Again, I think that's more of a Nomura situation. But if Final Fantasy 9's getting that third character, it's going to be him over Beatrix. And I don't mind Vivi. Vivi's cool. I just like Beatrix a bit more. And I think not being a permanent party member kind of, it makes you want to play as her more things, because you didn't really get a chance to play as her that much in the game she's from. But yeah, I don't really have too much of a way out how she could be totally unique. Got me there. Oh wow. Speaking of the devil, number 5, Auron, Final Fantasy X. I mean, Auron's awesome. He's arguably considered one of the most famous characters from Final Fantasy. At least FF10. Again, another character made in Kingdom Hearts 2. He's even a party member. I guess his issue is he's just another, sword user on the hero side. But like Beatrix, I was saying, I think Auron has more of a shot than her, let's be real. He can work on breaking the, stats of the other characters, lowering their attack, defense, speed, things like that. And I guess he is a samurai character, which you really don't have a traditional one. Like Sephiroth, he doesn't really have a traditional samurai fighting style. As much as I love him, he's not really that class. And I think Auron would be one of the best characters to choose for that. He's one of the most popular characters and he fits that class. These are, pretty much all I can say there, honestly. Number 4, another Final Fantasy X character, Seymour. Now, I could maybe see both Orin and Seymour being in the game because one would represent villains and one would represent heroes. And Seymour I always thought was a pretty cool villain. I fucking hated fighting him, especially Seymour Flux. Oh my god, Fluxing hate that form. But I always thought he was a pretty cool villain with a lot of cool attacks. And I think maybe they could integrate his different forms in his moveset. It might be kind of hard, but I think it's plausible. And I love Jecht, as you can see in the trailer talk I did with Jecht being announced. However, even though I know he is the villain rep for FF10 and Dissidia, most of us know he's not really a villain. He was just kind of a guy put in a bad circumstance. But Seymour, he's fucking evil. He's definitely more of a villain. And I also think, assuming Yuna's back, Tidus will have his rivalry with Jecht. Yuna will have hers with Seymour. I think that would be kind of cool. And then Orin will just be there, because he's Orin. Yeah, obviously his look would be his default normal human-sized look, but maybe get his other forms like Natus, Flux, and Omnis incorporating his moveset. Something maybe turn it temporarily, use some moves for it, something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool. Alright. Number 3 is
Cypher!
From Final Fantasy VIII. I had to do that. Cypher is probably one of my favorite characters from Final Fantasy VIII. He's just really cool. I mean, he's such an asshole, and can't help but love him. He's such a dickhead, but also hate him at the same time. And he has such a sexy gunblade. I actually like his a little more than Squall's, the Hyperion. God, that is a cool looking gunblade. Now, the main issue with Cypher isn't necessarily popularity. The problem with him that everyone always brings up is that he'd be too similar to Squall, unlike Rinoa and, I guess, Laguna before he got into Duodessa. I do think it's an issue, but I think it's more so with his brave attacks than HP attacks. Now, HP attacks are usually limits or super moves that the characters have done in their respective games. This was one thing that Cypher definitely did differently than Squall. I know one was called like Bloodbath. Pretty hardcore name. But yeah, his limits were completely different from Squall. The animations, the names. So I think his HP moves would, be a fairly easy thing to accommodate to make him unique. And they could always make up some things too. Like I know he does like I think he like kills Odin or something in the game. I think with just one slice, he could do a move like that for his HP moves. The brave attacks are an issue, I think, especially because in FF8, Squall was known for using his gunblade with 2 hands, Cypher with 1 hand. However, Squall uses 1 hand in Dissidia, so that's already kind of a hard thing to maybe work around. I think he could maybe have some kind of more savage style though than Squall. Maybe he could use more magic, maybe less magic, or hell, flip it around. Have him use 2 hands while Squall uses 1 hand. It's like, is it really that big of a deal? But no, I would love to see Cypher in the game. I definitely wanted him in Duodessa. It was, even though I like Laguna, I was a little disappointed that he didn't make it in. And I'm sure there's a way they can make him work. And I don't know if they'll give his gunblade to Squall as an alternate weapon down the line. Maybe they will. I guess that'd be better than nothing. It would still kind of suck. But anyway, moving on. On to number 2. Once again, another or option. Caius or Cid Raines from Final Fantasy 13-2 and then Final Fantasy 13. I really wanted Cid Raines for Duodecim. However, I think it was just a little too early for FF13 to get a second character. That was actually funny enough, I think around the time they announced 13-2. I just thought Cid Raines was a really cool character and it would be a cool rival for Lightning. I think he didn't primarily use a sword. I think he did some brawling moves as well. Again, it's been a while since I played 13, and to be honest, I never beat it. I'm sorry. However, I think Caius Ballad from 13-2 and 13-3 would be even better. His design is friggin' awesome, and I think he has a lot of moves that can easily work in a game like this. Yeah, he's another sword user and a big sword user, but I feel like he might be a little more, magic oriented. because I feel like he had a lot more energy blast and things like that. His main issue is that he's from a sequel game, and they seem very, very stingy about including characters that didn't debut in the original of the numbered game. Like, you know, it's not like, you know, Genesis from Crisis Core or Weiss from Dirge of Cerberus have much of a shot, because they're not from the original games. Caius might be able to break that rule, because it seemed like they're a little more open-minded with this game, as they have spin-offs like Tactics and Type Zero, so maybe be more open to sequel characters. And Lightning does have their 13.2 Alpha as an alternate, just saying. And I feel like since 13 was kind of, I feel like, so quickly made into a trilogy, they kind of run together a bit more than, say, like 7 or like maybe the 4 sequels and stuff like that. And I honestly think either of these guys would be a better choice than Barthandelus. I mean, I know he's sort of the main villain of 13, but I'm sorry, he just does not seem appealing to me. I think it'd be a little harder to make him work. He just doesn't seem as cool or as interesting as Caius or Sid Reigns. I mean, I guess his design would be a little more different from the typical Final Fantasy villain, but I don't know. To me, the other two are just much more striking. Even though I would prefer Caius, I would be totally fine if Sid Reigns got in. But I do think 13 needs to have a villain. One thing that did kind of make me a little mad with Through Odessum is that they kind of skimped on the villain choices. The only ones we got were Gilgamesh, who I like him, but I never really played 5, and he doesn't even seem that villainous to me. And Feral Chaos, who is sort of a character made up for that game. I mean, he was cool, but not really the same thing in a crossover game like that. Like, I know 11 got two hero characters without getting a villain. I think that's just because of the nature of that game being an MMO, and I think the villains from that game just weren't that popular. But I think 13, like, even though, yeah, the villains maybe aren't the most popular characters, I think they're a little more higher up there than 11's were. And I actually think one of the only reasons Shantoto was on the Cosmos side back in the first game was because they wanted to have something from 11 and something from 12. And I think they just kind of thought that since Gabranth is more of a direct antagonist, have him be on Chaos, and then I guess have Shantoto be on Cosmos. But yeah, I would really like to see either of them in the game. I really hope they make it in. Like I said, 13 definitely needs a villain, and I really want to like Barthandelus. And I think 13 could get a villain. It's like, I know it's like one of the more divisive games, but it still has a lot of popularity, and Square seems to love it. Alright, so now I'm about to get to number 1. However, like I always do, gotta have them honorable mentions. For this one, I picked 5. Alright, so here they are, honorable mentions. Gladiolus from Final Fantasy 15. Zack Fair from the Final Fantasy 7 games. Arden from Final Fantasy 15. Rydia or Edge from Final Fantasy 4. I'm really actually satisfied with the Final Fantasy 4 representatives, but either of these characters would make me pretty happy. It'd be a nice bonus. But, yeah. And then the last one is Vayne from Final Fantasy 12. I know it kind of already has a villain, but Vayne's pretty cool, and kind of a Jecht and Seymour situation. Vayne is kind of more of the Seymour in this case. So, on to my number 1 pick. Drum roll, please. Vincent Valentine from Final Fantasy VII. Vincent is probably my favorite character from 7 next to Sephiroth. He's my favorite party member. It's kind of silly that he's optional, but I guess he's so hard to miss, he might as well not even be optional. And his design and abilities are just really cool, and I think he'd be really unique and really awesome in a game like this. We don't have that many gunners, first of all, and he fucking turns into different monsters. Like, there's no other character that fucking does that. Like, there's characters that maybe have one transformation and that's it, but he has multiples. And they all fight fairly differently. Vincent, he is popular. I think the main issue with him is that, first of all, 7 already has 3 characters. Secondly, there's 2 characters that are maybe more popular or requested than him, and that's Zack Fair, which is one of my honorable mentions, and Eris. Zack Fair has kind of gotten very popular because of Crisis Core. And I like Zack, don't get me wrong, he's one of my honorable mentions here. However, I know he could be different from Cloud, but I just think Vincent would be just so much cooler and so much more interesting, and I just like Vincent more. And you know, Vincent unfortunately suffers from the reverse of Zack's situation, where his game, Dirge of Cerberus, was not very well received. But here's my two things with that. I personally like both games. Yeah, I do think Crisis Core is a bit better, but Dirge of Cerberus I think was still fun. Still a cool, fun game that elaborated more on Vincent's backstory and gave him more to fight and work with. The other thing too is, the game came out like more than 10 years ago. Like, I think it's time to get over it. I don't think that should stop him. And Eris, I don't hate Eris, but I'm sorry, I just would not want to play as her in a fighting game. I know this is a team-based fighting game, and healers do have a place in it, but I don't know. And I know she could get a moveset, I just don't see it being as appealing as Vincent or even Zack. But hey, you know what? It is Final Fantasy VII, so they could add all three for all we fucking know. Even if Vincent couldn't use all of his monster forms, I think at the very least they should do Galleon Beast and Chaos. That's what Dirge of Cerberus did. Regularly in the game you can turn into Galleon Beast, and then at the very end of the game you can turn into Chaos. It would be great to see Death Gigas and the other one, I forget what it's called. The one's the Frankenstein one, one's the Jason one. They're both cool, I just forget their names. Yeah, I think that's about it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Do you want any of these characters? Do you not want these characters? Don't forget to check out Mark Junard's channel in the description below. My next top 10 is going to be on the BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle game. That's going to be a little different. Since it's like 4 series in that game, I'm going to do one video where it's BlazBlue and Persona, and I'm only going to pick 4 from each that I want, and 2 honorable mentions for each. We would be here forever if it was one video and they did like 10 from each. And those series aren't quite as expansive as Marvel, Capcom, Square Enix, and Dragon Ball. They'll be split into 2 videos, and I guess like, comment, subscribe, dislike if you dislike it. It's a free country, and as always, another time, another place. Keep being awesome.